What'd you take away from the film from Monday night?
Yeah, about how we felt after the game. You just got to score more points, and you got to do everything you can. Getting down to the red zone, I thought we moved the ball well at times, and it's just one of those things that you have to be able to go down, convert on third downs, and I thought they did some good things defensively, and there are definitely things that we can clean up and progress on, but just got to score more points.
How much do you look at sort of game script? Because in that game, you only really had 3 possessions before you got it at the end of the game. With the field goal drive and the 3 and out, it's not like you really had that many opportunities with the ball in the second half. How does that sort of factor into your assessment of a performance?
Yeah, I think you just got to make the most of those. You can't go 3 and out, and you have to be able to drive the ball. And you got to be aggressive on first and second down, and make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to be able to convert on third down. They've been very good against teams on third and long, and we did our best to avoid those situations. But it's those things. It's limiting penalties. Staying in front of the chains and making sure that you're in a position to be able to convert, because that definitely helps you as an offense.
After the game, you kind of said you asked about Quinn, and you talked about basically supporting him and of that sort. Like, I guess when you speak about that way about like your teammates or whatever, see other players kind of approach those situations differently. Like, I guess growing up or through football, did you learn? I don't know the way you speak about your teammates from anyone, your family, or in the ways you speak about guys positively after situations like that?
I think it's probably just important to, I guess you could say, treat people the way you want to be treated. Nobody's perfect. I've had plenty of poor performances where I'd love to have throws back where I can make a better ball or things like that, and that's going to happen in the NFL. It's a tough game, and guys on defense they're paid a lot of money to stop receivers and tight ends and running backs and do those things, and we're not always going to make the play, and that's the unfortunate part. And I think the most important part about playing this game is always the next play. And you can't let the last play affect your next one. And I think that's where Q is going to do such a fantastic job where, obviously it's a tough night. Tough night for everyone. We didn't put up as many points as we would have liked, and we left some plays out there. But he showed up today, and he gave it his all. And that's what he does every day. And so that's what you respect about your teammates. And, I think that's the important thing going forward.
In the second half of that game, did the Ravens make adjustments that were keeping you guys from scoring? Or what were you seeing out there in terms of that?
No, I think it's just on us. I think we might have scored the same amount of points in the second half as we did in the first half. But I think it's just us to execute. And, like I always talk about, it's executing on third down and making sure that we're scoring points in the red zone. And, touchdowns are way more valuable than field goals. And we got to do a better job of going down there and scoring touchdowns. So that's on us. But it's just, putting together a consistent 4-quarter game where, we're playing our brand of football.
Your sleeve now, thankfully, you've been wearing, is that to protect anything, or is that just swag look or something?
No, it's just to keep my knee warm.
You something around your knee?
No, it's just to keep it warm. It's just, sometimes, muscles get sore and you play a football game and you just got to do everything you can to keep it warm and, prevent it from having to warm up again. So I think sleeves just help with that.
It's just the one knee.
Yeah, it's not a swag look if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I was hoping so. But, and the celebration after the first touchdown, what was that?
Yeah, it was just I've had poor ball security, and so we talked about it all week where it's wrapping, tightening that thing up, and especially when you're getting into contact. So it's just me, taking coaching and celebrating with the team because we've all kind of joked about it, and I got to be better with my ball security. So that was kind of the point of it. High and tight, exactly.
What did you? I don't know if you noticed this, but there was the one pass, I think the second to last possession, where Ladd made a really good catch, but he had 1 foot out of bounds, and then there was a PI.
Yep.
And as he was standing there, I don't know if you noticed this part, but he just kind of had the ball tucked in his arm. And he was just kind of listening to the refs go around and figure out what was going on. Is that like a sign of maturity or growth, or, he looked like a 10-year veteran out there.
Him curious with what the call is?
Yeah. Kind of standing there, just waiting for them to make a decision, but he wasn't yelling or in their face at all. He was just standing there.
Yeah, I think he was probably just intrigued with what was going to happen. He made a great play. I thought he got both feet in, but whatever the call was, I'm sure he was curious to hear about that. And there were a lot of calls in the game that we'd love to have back and things like that. But he's definitely done a great job of being a veteran, even though he's a rookie.
The post to Josh at the end of the half, you guys didn't connect on. How much were you influenced by the pressure up the middle, because it looked like your arm got kind of hit after your release, and I couldn't tell on film if you
Yeah.
got affected.
Yeah, I think that's one that you'd love to have back. It's just one of those plays where you're throwing it to where you think he's going to be at. I threw it a little early. The pressure was up the middle, and I could have took some off of it or threw it up higher and let him run under it. But it was just a missed play that I'd love to have back.
Did your arm hit, did that impact where you wanted to place the ball at all?
I'd like to think that it didn't. I think that's just one of those situations where you're dropping back in the pocket and you're keeping your eyes downfield. You're not letting anyone influence your throwing style, your mechanics. So I'd like to think that it was my fault completely.
Seems like JK is going to miss a little bit of time. How much do you feel for him, and how much is it on the collective to kind of pick up in his absence?
Yeah, we feel horrible for him. He's such a tough teammate, and the way he's fought through so many injuries is, we've got no doubt that he's going to be back better than ever. And so it's up to us. It's our responsibility to hold it down while he's gone. And we know how much he cares about this team, about how our success, our performances. So we got to do a good job of making right by him and making him proud.
I know we asked you after the game about the run game, but after watching the tape, what did you think was the way you guys ran the ball?
Yeah, I thought, in the first half, I thought we moved the ball pretty well, and the game kind of shifted to, a more catch-up 2-minute style. So I don't think we have the same amount of opportunities we did in the second half. But I thought those guys up front, they did a good job pushing, moving. But we just got to continue to stick with it and, keep those games tighter so we're not having to throw the ball like that.
What have you seen from the Falcons defense?
Started yesterday on him. It's a defense that we have been kind of familiar with, having played the Rams, the Chargers recently, and they've changed a little bit. So we got to do a good job of watching as much film as we can. But they've got some very good playmakers on that side of the ball, especially two really good safeties that you have to be aware of, or they're just ball hawks. They go make plays, and some really good linebackers that fly around, and they're a very good team.
It's structurally pretty similar to what Rams running.
Yeah, same type of philosophy, but changes here and there.